There are times I know it can be hard to get up and go. You can always count on those beside you. When you're far from home, it can be hard to go alone. Bring a friend. Oh, bring a friend. When you're on that road, you can share your heavy load. Every day can be a new adventure. When you're far from home, it can be scary to go alone. Bring a friend. Oh, bring a friend. Leave a to me question.
Hey, what is up, LUQties? Let me just turn down that background sound. It was not recognizing my microphone, and I can't not talk to you, so I just had to troubleshoot it for a few minutes. And what a weird error that I guess other people have had with the Logitech software, because I googled it and kind of figured it out. But yeah, everyone, welcome back to this week's episode of the League of Ultimate Questing Battle Axis. This is episode 119, if you can believe it, Gnostic. And we are closing in. This is the beginning of the last chapter of the season. And this is the first of 3 episodes in that chapter. So we are close. We're close. Soon you're gonna get to learn how all of this ends. I just found out last week how it ends, so very, very exciting. I've not been keeping up on chat, but I hope everyone's doing well. Very nice to see all of you. Not a bad turnout today at all. Yeah, no, rightfully so, rightfully so. I too had a lot of anxiety going into it, but that is all I can say. All in all, it's honestly, you know, fingers crossed. I don't want to, you know, count the chickens and all that before they're hatched, because, you know, barring some catastrophic incident where we lose the audio, it's really weird thinking about that. It's all done at this point, and we have a complete thing, and that's kind of neat. And you'll all get to see what that looks like soon. But such a long-term project finally kind of coming full circle and getting a bow put on it, you know? It's wild. Hey, it's always a good idea to wear a LUQ shirt. Yeah, that's fair. Feel free to hit me with those. We're past time because of my mic problems, so I'm not gonna hold it up. I'm just gonna swap to the episode. But yeah, as always, stick around. I'll be back. And enjoy.
Can you believe that cloud kill? These guys are unbeatable.
I'll admit I had my doubts, but the Fallow Crown truly is the right team for the job.
Hal with the haste is a ridiculous combo, and he took that Destiny Bond like a champ. I guess the only question left is, what now? Right? Like, this didn't really point them in the direction of the Darkwood. Not really. It's like one of those things they used to mislead you.
A red herring.
No thanks. I'm on a beef cleanse this week.
Right. There were plenty of allusions to death, and it's clear that the Dread Council and their subjects are unwilling members of the Undying. But the Pale Bastion does not appear to be the source of the Darkwood.
What's your take, Rust? Squeeze me off a loaf of that noggin log. Rusty? Hey, bud. He's talking to you. Warren.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Dread Council has fallen. The fallow crown stands victorious. But over what? What greater threat lurks in the shadows to come? There is no way of knowing. And while these legends have certainly earned their day in the pale false sun of error, their fate is unknown.
God, Rusty. Way to fart out our birthday candle. We're trying to celebrate here, right? Way to be a negative Nelly about it.
How dare you? Nelly is a delight.
You know what I meant.
These are the facts. It's our job to report them. I'm sorry if the truth is too much to bear.
Hey, let's get back to the action, huh? I think we could all use a breather. The fallow crown most of all.
A noxious fog settles in. Corpses fall and crumble to dust. You stand amid the devastation of the Dread Council, and footsteps approach.
Immediately turn to face, rapier of wit still gleaming with arcane energy in my hand.
You see a man in funereal garb, his face clad in a white mask. Behind him, the cartographer. Do not fault them. They are ancient and afraid, mired in their prophecy and their hatred. I do not believe you are the scion of true death. Too much life in you. Too much love.
But if it's not Papa, then who is the scion of true death?
Oi, who owes me a good few answers?
I do not believe it exists. I do not believe there is a true death. I imagine a world where this... He gestures to the pale bastion in its totality. This is how we all end. Quiet, restless, and alone. That is why I celebrate life.
I did not think we would see you again, Grand Celebrant. It's strangely comforting in this horrible aftermath.
Grand Celebrant. I suppose I am now. He looks at the empty armor of the council. I warned them, you know. I tried so dearly to stop them. But the pale omen will not be ignored.
Will you be trading in your mask for a crown?
Absolutely not.
Does that mean Hal kind of gestures to the body of the lich that's next to him? Can I make some finger motions like, can I loot the body? Would that be disrespectful?
The dead have no use of possessions so long as they did not value them in life.
I loot the lich.
You find a tattered brass crown, costume jewelry, broken armor, nothing of value.
Meh.
Gaspar is going to join Hal, take some spears, and then turn the armor and spears into kind of just like a flag or a banner that you can jingle for a parade. That way the Death Celebrant has something to parade around.
They ruled this place like a fief, something that they could command. But one does not command death. One serves it, or suffers it. I will bring this place back to what it was always intended to be, a celebration and a place of rest for those who seek it. If you should ever seek rest, join me here. You will have a home, though perhaps, he looks at Iabos, not the one you wish for.
The fate you describe is much favorable to the one that they presented to us. But I am glad to hear you say that you do not believe that I am the scion of true death. You would think a scion would know such things if they felt poison in their mouth. And it did. These poor souls.
Thank you dearly. You have given them the end that they cherish, and in so doing, granted me the opportunity to return this place to one of celebration and peace. But know you that the end is coming. This is known, and as you leave, which you must, ask yourselves, How will you face it? He turns and begins walking towards the second lich gate.
Wait,
He turns.
I think you know more than you're telling us. Do you know how this story ends?
No story ever ends. Not really. We just choose when to close the book. And with that, he begins to dance to music that none of you can hear. The cartographer stands in silent meditation, staring down at a compass.
We remain in your debt, cartographer.
What is it you seek? I wonder.
My heart and my fate seek two different things. I have been told by higher powers that we are to seek the dark wood to destroy it, at least the source of it, the heart of it. But I've never really believed that that was what any of us would do on our own without a strong hand guiding us.
And what is it that your heart seeks?
The truth. The kind of truth that puts an end to years and years of wandering.
Your daughter's hand finds your own, offers it a squeeze.
Nothing is true, but there are frameworks through which we can make accurate predictions. I do not believe it is truth you seek, but home. And I admit, I have not been honest with you. I seek my home, but I can never go there again. Looking out upon this field, I know I was right to call you from the dream. I feared you would enter the pull of the tower. All energies are pulled toward it, the dream most of all. Aether is slower in its flow, and there are vast reservoirs in the wastes. This creates rivers of aether which flow and join and separate all throughout creation. I ride these rivers to my destinations. I watch them, tend to them, redirect them. I am the cartographer, but that is not all I am. It is time I live up to my title. You know me as the skeptic.
Oh, shit.
I am the seeker of truth, guardian of logic and reason. And I beseech thee, scion of the unknown, lend me your aid, that I might murder the one true god of error. My brother and I were born in the outer real. In those times the world was alive. Rumors spread of vast cities to the center, and living gods in the wastes. Travelers came and went. Food and its growth could be counted on. And hope, above all hope, was in abundance. We knew Adenai was different, from the moment he was born. Beneath this symbol on his brow, his golden eyes bore the wisdom of ages, his hands the wear of years. With his words, he spoke with the authority of a father. On the day of his blessing, he tended the fields. Wherever he strode, life blossomed, death abated, and joy lingered. And yet, he was not the scion of life, nor love, nor peace and prosperity. His tenet, as ominous and incongruous as his nature. In the beginning, there was nothing. When he was of age, we ventured out in pilgrimage to the tower. I, his archivist, our oldest friend Salamath, our hunter and field guide, for he was the scion of wisdom, of knowing. Our journeys were many and great. Together we became men. They became lovers, then soulmates, then husbands. For a time they lost their purpose, so mired in adventure and the love of their disciples, that the tower and its secrets became secondary to the mysteries of life. But I did not forget, and I would not let hubris sunder our quest. So, under my guidance and pressure, we continued, into the heart of the inner real. There the world grew harsh. The joys and beauties of the outer real gave way to barren wastes and sucking marshes. The frigid winds alone nearly drove my brother to madness. Civilizations and weathered cities crumbled into dust. The world rotted. And we could not know then that that rot would spread. We could not know that we looked upon our own future. In time, life grew so sparse that starvation was certain. Salamath begged us to return to the plenty of the outer real, that there Adonai might be blessed with a greater congregation and therefore power. Salamath feared to be forgotten, that Adonai's power would fade and the people would abandon their faith. He feared so much. That is when we saw it, rolling out below the mountains at the edge of the world, the black forest and the tower. Faith restored, we plunged into the forest and began our journey inward. Salamath's skills and bushcraft failed him. We followed for days, only to return again to where we began. I posited that we might take the time to learn the secrets of the woods, that perhaps his wisdom did not apply here. In truth, I suspected he concealed the truth, that he could not find his way. He refused, of course. He knew the woods of the world. He knew the ways of nature. He could and would guide us through. We were so busy bickering that we did not notice Adonai fading. At first his voice was firm and calming, breaking up our squabbles like a weary parent. But soon his voice began to shake, his eyes tarnished, and his power faded. Salamath decided to abandon our quest, that no secrets were worth this. I refused, as did Adonai. We continued, eschewing Salamath's earth law for my logic. But we did not find the tower. Instead, we found the heart tree, a great black monolith, gnarled and twisted. It was there that Adonai fell, a shivering wreck. He could never handle the cold. We set camp to tend to my brother, and in our dreams, a vision. A desolate world, shattered and barren. The tower in the void, a man at its center, the souls of all things flowing into him, until the golden light shattered the tower, and the world was born anew. When we woke, Adonai was not himself. He could not remember his tenet. We fled the forest, and found a small cottage atop the mountain, upon a vast plateau. Home to a woods witch, who was kind enough to grant us shelter. Adonai recovered some, but was far from mended. I demanded that we return to the forest, that Adonai could repair while we sought the truth, but Salamath refused. He called me cruel, single-minded, heartless. I abandoned them, and sought the tower myself. So, perhaps he was right. But I never found it, and they never left that cottage. Soon disciples came, following rumors that Adonai, of the beginning, could be found atop the peaks, at the heart of the world. The old church was founded, believing that unifying all the souls of error, Adonai might renew the world and bring an end to the long death. They have committed terrible crimes in the name of his vision, our shared dream, stealing away the blighted souls of scions, silencing and imprisoning dissenters, forcing conversions and bloody crusades. But I have my doubts. I do not believe Adonai was the man we saw within that tower. I now believe that man was you, Yavos. And I also believe that the time has come to bring an end to the old church.
So, the heart tree you mention, that is the true core of the Darkwood.
Perhaps.
Perhaps indeed. We made you a promise, and it sounds like it aligns with the task we have been given. As far as any of us could predict anyway. We have no map to follow, so it is yours we must turn to. At least, it feels right to me, but it is not my choice alone to make. Looking to his friends.
You know, Skeptographer, I've been a little confused so far about what my role in all this is, but you said something what rung true to me. You move rivers. You pass them from one place to another. Now, you may have been speaking metaphor, or you may have been, talking big. But you gotta remember that all rivers empty out into the ocean, and I, my friend, am the fucking ocean.
You are not wrong to say that rivers end in the ocean. But I ask you, what if there was a hole in the bottom of the ocean?
Think that may be where I crawled out of. If you need to find your way back to it, I can seek us both there.
And do you mean for us to plug up this hole?
I mean for you to kill my brother. All other purposes are your own.
How does that help us destroy the Darkwood, though?
It does not.
Got it.
But it takes us closer.
Does it?
If you choose to aid me, I will bring you there.
Ah.
For the All Church stands in the mountains above the dark forest.
Well, in that case, I don't know if we could find it. It sounds like they had a lot of trouble getting to the Darkwood, and if they've been there before. I was going to say, as many things as we've seen the Old Church do, our quest isn't with them. I don't disagree this is the right thing to do, but we've been charged with the destruction of the Darkwood, not the destruction of the Old Church.
And yet, that did not stop you from destroying the Council of the Dead. You have defeated the All Church's greatest enemy. It seems only fair to even the scales.
This would not be the first time I have traded murder for passage. But this is the first time that it's felt disheartening.
Union Square, 1 murder, please.
Wouldn't be the first time we've killed a god, either.
It's funny. I figured choosing between right and wrong would be easier.
You know, I always found it's best not to think about it too much and just go whatever your gut feels right.
That explains a lot.
Your brother. You and he have been around for a very long time, it sounds like. Is there no hope of redemption and change? Is death the only answer?
This I do not know. In my study, which is my tenet, I have not found an answer. The blighted are lost, or were, until one encountered you. Any peace you can grant him would be appreciated. But I fear he will not comply.
Well, let's keep our eyes open and our hearts open for hope. That in the face of whatever comes, there might be a light still there.
That sounds like a good tenet to me.
So it has been your intent to kill gods, perhaps in this task, because it is your rune that seems to hold the power to do so in this place.
This is not my rune. It is a modification of the original symbol. He draws the symbol of the All Church, the chevron pointing up. This indicates faith, the surrendering of oneself to the greater will. And he draws the chevron down, the chevron of the skeptic. This grounds us in reason and logic. It was always Adonai's intention for me and the Scion of Wisdom to serve as guides for the people of Era. But this, he taps your weapon. I do not know why it is here, for we first saw it in our vision.
It makes sense to me. What greater weapon is there against the gods than the reason to doubt faith? So it's one trial after another in this place. As you say, Hal, this is not the task we were given, but one more bridge we must cross in order to get there.
Wusha, bending down and picking up as many spears as he can carry, says, "Ain't that just always the way with us, though?"
This feels different, though. All of our tests in all of our trials were to delight and entertain. And now we race towards a finality.
As always, Papa, show me how to sow the fields, and I will do the work.
And when we reach the end of the field, perhaps this will all be behind us.
You take some time to rest in this field of death. As you rise from your rest, the cartographer speaks, going about his work. Most of the bodies of water follow the aetherways. Beneath their flow, one must center their eye upon the innermost black of the tower. With practice, this meditative state comes easily enough. But we do not have time to teach you the secrets of the ways. Instead, I shall open a path. Be warned that once we enter, you must not allow your mind to wander. The aether is intoxicating. It is the conduit between the abstract and the real. Do not lose sight of your allies, and keep your thoughts on your destination, lest you slip away into lands unknown. The cartographer draws from his pack a backstaff, which some of you recognize as a compass-like navigator's instrument, used to determine the altitude of a celestial body. Yet its arms meet at odd angles. The measurements he notes do not follow any system you are familiar with, and it is not the sky nor any celestial body he measures, for indeed there are none in this desolate land, but instead the tower itself. From the earth, wisps of ephemera begin to rise. Few and sparse at first, they cluster together, forming an updraft, whose winds pull not at your flesh, but at your soul. You can feel it at the edges of your consciousness, a lifting, rising sensation. Thoughts turn to the winds and the birds as the undeniable directionality of the plane of error makes itself known. All things pulled inward and ever onward. The sky darkens as light, that constant, so precious and so true, loses its shape. Relationships begin to fade as the relativity of truth intensifies. Spirit now, no dream to speak of. Blissful, blessed spirit. Matter reaches out to make impressions upon your gossamer flesh. Your flowing arms wrap, eroding around mountainous bodies. The fires of your souls scorch the winds. Blood rises from your veins like smoke, only to fall in sanguine rains upon mounds of fertility, where life, strange life, blossoms in wars. The lands below are a map whose symbols eldritch lose all meaning. The map resolves, and matter struggles to assert. Which of you fall screaming from the sky? And by what means do you keep hold of your identity and your purpose? We're going to enter a skill challenge. Each of you explain to me how you keep your mind on your objective and how you prevent yourself from slipping free of the world of the spirit.
Gaspar's task is quite simple, and so he will twirl in his fingers the first skeptic's dagger, a reminder of the implications it once held, and now a reminder of the true intention of why it was created. This dagger must find a home. May I make a sleight of hand or acrobatics or...
I like sleight of hand. What mental attribute would you like to use for that?
Intelligence.
I like it. Go ahead and roll.
That is going to be a 22.
That does not meet the DC.
Ooh.
You try to apply your logic, form thoughts around your task, but nothing applies. Your understanding of relative truth begins to slip, as does your hand and the dagger, drifting farther and farther away from each other.
We're fucked, boys. Hal's going to do what he's always done when he needs to stay focused. He lets himself go into the zone. Single-minded, routine, no thought, just purpose.
I like that.
I don't know what skill to use, though, I will say.
I'm going to go ahead and call that a performance constitution check.
Okay. All right, well, that gives me plus 10 to the roll. So, it's the best skill challenge I've ever rolled. 26?
That does succeed.
Okay.
The zone.
You know, after 22 failed, I wasn't sure.
The state of passive observation that the zone grants you is ideally suited for the ether. The nature of reality is irrelevant. All that matters is your goal. Nellie.
Chaos clings to the contours of Nellie's mind like a wet bed sheet. Amidst this, she begins to take stock of who she is. I am Nellie Isadora. I have 2 eyes. I have 2 arms, 2 hands, 10 fingers, and 10 toes. I know who I am. As she counts off the various things that make up her body, I would like to roll perception.
Excellent. I'm going to call that a charisma check instead of a wisdom check because you are literally trying to assert your own sense of self.
I will happily take that. 31.
Oh,
That is a success. For a moment, you feel as though fingers might be rivers and toes might be mountains, but then they resolve back into something akin to what you remember. Humanity, after all, is as much a dream to you as anyone else. Wusha.
Setting his arms to the strange flow and shift of this mercurial existence, Wusha is going to stay focused the only way sailors know how to, by repeating a simple work song. Dip the oars to the old Queen's North, we sail afar to a distant shore. I'm going to do a wisdom athletics check.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Very juicy.
Thank you. Given my history with skill checks, though, this is going to be ass. I am correct. I got a 13 total.
That will not do it.
I didn't think so.
Your pitch falters. Your rhythm is meaningless in a land and space without time. And as you fall, the waters below reach up to grab you. Iavos.
For 300 years, Iavos existed and walked through dreams. He knows how it feels to have his ego liquefied, to be guided by hands of chaos and an infinite magical falling. But even with that understanding, this is new to him. And he reaches to the one thing he cares about more than anything else, to guide him. Reaching out with magical hands to grip his allies by theirs, holding Opus against his chest, I'm going to do a wisdom arcana check to hold my friend's hands.
I like it. That's very good.
With Opus, I get a once-a-day advantage. If I can, yeah. I'm going to need it. 25.
That is a success.
Thank you, Arcana bonus.
And that does grant your two falling allies another opportunity to save themselves.
Ooh.
We're still in the season.
Gaspar.
Since Gaspar feels like he is falling, he has to find himself once more. And realizing that usually the best way to take note of where you are is to try and then hide it away from others. You can't hide if you don't know where you are, right? This tower is staring down at him, pushing him away or pulling him towards an abyss. So if I may, I would like to hide myself and buy a few moments of time to recollect myself.
I like it.
A charisma stealth, if you are.
That is very
down.
good. Dead on. Beautiful.
Ooh, gotta go with the smallest die available. Sneaking. That is going to be a 35.
That will succeed. Thinking with psychedelics, you were able to almost literally hide your nature from the Axis, as though you're not really there at all. And you reassert yourself in the stream of the aether.
Only Gaspar can succeed a stealth check against reality.
Wusha has peered into unwelcoming oceans before. More literal than the one he's in right now, but, you know, the concept's the same, right? He's going to try to look into these strange waters and find where it keeps its buoyancy. Repeating to himself, break your back, scour the deck, the coast is clear, the ship's a wreck. And make an insight check
Hell
into the
yeah.
water.
I like it.
No. I got 10. Fuck me.
Poor Whoosh.
Oh, here we go.
My only weakness, metaphysics.
Okay. What do I got? How many do I have?
Uh-oh. Don't say that.
You will be taking 60-12 psychic damage as your soul is shredded.
Yeah, that tracks.
2 12s and an 11 on the first three.
I hate you.
My dude's getting pitted.
That's 35.
5, yeah.
Okay. 1 2 9.
Pendulum's kind of swinging back. Jesus.
That is 47
fucking
psychic damage. There is no voice, no call from the cartographer, only a certainty of your approaching destination and the urgent need to disembark. It is here, now, as you begin to descend, that the flow of the ether takes shape. The ephemeral rivers which rend the skies of error are populated. All around you, spirits, souls, the energetic manifestations of astral intentions flow in concert towards the center of all things. There, dominating your vision, is the axis, a pillar of wrought iron, pulsing. With each throb, the souls of the countless dead surge, like blood to the heart. You escape the current only narrowly, as the cartographer uses yet another instrument to pull you free of the ether. It is some time before your eyes and minds adjust to your surroundings. First to return is your sense of breath. Gouts of thin, frigid air fill you like jagged teeth. Eyes and sinuses fill with moisture which begs permission to freeze, but this place is not quite so cold as that. The blur fades as the mountains manifest around you. You, even here among the peaks, are dwarfed in mind, body, and soul by the immensity of the axis. Among the rings of zenith, you have had little cause to grapple with the size of it. Even now, you struggle to gain grip and footing against so distressing a notion, for it defies measurement, defies definitions, and with all your experience and knowledge, hardship and triumph, you could not say with any certainty whether it is leagues away or so close you could touch it. A fog settles in at the tree line of a ring of mountains and carries over a black forest, too dense to penetrate with sight alone. And as your eyes follow the axis down, so much as any living thing can, a gentle taper can be seen before disappearing into the mists. Be wary, friends. One should no more stare into the tower than the sun, lest you suffer a blindness of hope greater than any darkness.
Hey, bud. You doing all right?
I'm fine, Dirk. I'm just tired.
Got the no sleepums, huh? That's the butts. You know what helps me?
I'm sure you're going to tell me.
I like to start with a nice tall glass of warm maple water. I find the syrup has a soothing effect on my restless mouth syndrome. Then I crank up my ambient noise band. Disorganized sound is the only way to get this booty poppin'. Then I...
Stop it.
Look, Chief, you want to saw a good log? You gotta suffer the slog.
I said stop it. Stop your incessant chattering. Stop blathering on about the repulsive nonsense that occupies every square nanometer of your brain. Stop trying to make everything about your disgusting habits. Just stop.
Hey, I won't let you talk to me that way, Warren. Not anymore. You were the one pushing us to be optimistic, slapping us in the face with your warm and fuzzies. Now all of a sudden you want to slip into something a bit more insufferable. So put on your pillow mittens and sock it to your favorite beanbag, right? Well, no thanks. If that's your attitude, you can pack your carpet bag and munch it. Because I hate to break it to you, I'm in charge now. And as much as I want you on that scribe with me, I want the version of you that realized how much of a jerk he was. Not this day one dookie dribbler.
You're right.
I am?
Yeah. I don't belong here. I don't know why I came back. I'm not doing any good for anyone.
Hey, that's not what I meant. I just...
You were showing just how meaningless this all is. Goodbye, Dirk. And, good luck with the show. You're gonna do great.
Warren?
We're about to witness a planar phenomenon, a keyhole between worlds that only marketing can penetrate. Join me as we glimpse into the adverse.
Tired of the same old chanting, praying, and gestures of faith? Drop those dusty old gods and get yourself a new god. Come visit the Church of Letrosel, master of earthly delights. Warm up at our open bar, sample our buffet of alchemical mind candies. step up to the rail and put your donation in the tray, as our priests and priestesses give you a sermon of the flesh. Or you can visit one of our one-on-one confessional booths to really get things off your chest. 1-year membership to the church comes with weekly access to the sauna, the juice bar, and the oiled lust pit. Letracell wants to send your mind to new heights of bliss. They are a divine sexual entity with infinite, ever-changing perfect genitalia, and your passion and pleasure give them strength. So redefine your faith. Open your heart and mind to the ways of earthly pleasure with the Church of Letracell. We've got thoughts and prayers. Hey, all you cuties. It's me, Law, from the show. We're almost done with season 2, and there's so much change in the air, I'm basically speechless. I just want to take a second to say thank you to all of the fans who've been with us for a long time, following as we bring you new episodes, hashtag every fucking Monday, talking to us about them, and sharing them with others. You folks are amazing, and I just can't wrap my head around it. I also have to thank our Patreon supporters of every rank. Without you, the show wouldn't be possible. And even now, it's still hard to make it happen regularly, but we're always doing our best. Our current legendary mid-roll teams are the Titans Rise, the Forgotten Legacy, the Ceaseless Horde, and this week's featured team, the Twilight Concord, with Maisie, Mike Gordon, Big Boy Roy, and Kaylin Oliver. To get a personal message right on the show or for possible advertising opportunities, reach out to admin@slap-studios.com, and be sure to follow us on YouTube to see live episodes streamed every Monday night, hosted by Dana. We're sorry we haven't been streaming lately, but if there's anything in particular that you'd like us to bring back, please let us know. We'll be recording Dungeon City later this week, and I can't wait to see how that goes. I'm pretty nervous for such a big genre shift, but it sounds like everyone's excited. Again, it's going to be recorded like a normal chapter of the podcast instead of live streamed, so I apologize if that's something that you were looking forward to. That said, the story hasn't changed, and it's ready to be told. But that's enough out of me. Let's get you back to the battle axis. Clomp, clack, slosh. Clomp, clack, slosh. Clomp and clack and 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 slosh. When your time at sea draws far too long, you can always sing this special song, and your savior, he will come along. It's Captain Kegleg. When the sun beats down on your weary brow, and you can't tell the starboard from the bow, then you need an ice-cold lager brow. It's Captain Kegleg. Don't let your time at sea make you miss out on the best things in life. Grab an ice-cold bottle of Captain Kegleg's Longship Party Lager and let the waves take you away. Captain Kegleg's Longship Party Lager.
It's beer so good, I put it in me leg.
At the cartographer's words, you wrest your gaze from the existential quandary that is the Axis. Vision gasps like lungs at the limit of their breath, thirsty, desperate for context, substance, definition. And there, a breath of proverbial fresh air, stands the All-Church. A voice, faint and querulous, objects at the sight. The All-Church? The monument to the one true God of error? Impossible. Heroes to legends all, your eyes have been graced by breathtaking majesties beyond comprehension. Witness to the abstract wonders of Abel, the harrowing architecture of the Pale Bastion, the mechanized marvels of Zenith. But this is different. The pale slate and veined marble of the cathedral before you was not carted from distant lands by worshippers millions strong, but instead hewn from the very mountain on which you stand. The stained glass beneath the belfry was not wrought of precious jewels, nor even by hands without equal. The ribbed vaults and flying buttresses are beautiful, of course, the labor and arts all worthy of praise, even high praise. But the highest? No. These are the works of hands, of flesh and bone. No magic has touched these walls, nor the bodies of those who crafted them, nor the supply lines, farms, lands, and lives that made this possible. No magic. For this place is dead of magic. You can feel the crushing dryness of it, a desert unto the energies and abstracts of life itself. The pillars of reality that prop the arcane and the divine are cracked, at desperate risk of sunder. All that you carry is all that you have. Know this, they won't last long. Before the red lacquered doors, carven with images of the tower and the ring of mountains that surround it, a pair of plated gendarmes stand silent and vigilant, but not hostile. The edges of their armor rusting gently in the harsh winds, their surcoat blazoned with arms long faded into obscurity by the harsh and unfiltered light of the false sun. The cartographer steps forward. I am the skeptic, burdened with truth. I come to whisper in the ear of God. The guards about face. Resting their finely crafted lucerne hammers upon their shoulders, they press into the doors which groan in protest before swinging wide upon the vast entry hall of the All-Church. Black basalt and white marble checker across the floor. To either side are great staircases hewn into the mountain itself. The stair to your left carries a gilded sign which reads Habitatio, from which emanate sounds of life, humble, unassuming. To your right, Sanitorio. From this can be heard distant screams, maddened chatter, wailing, moaning, sobbing, and violent, a helpless protest. The blight must be contained, or so the Gnostic would have people believe. But who, I wonder, draws the lines that divide the blighted from the blessed? And how many souls have joined their voices to this choir most profane?
Fill your ears not with the weapons of the Scion suffering.
The cartographer walks forward into the nave, and as you follow, the gates close behind you. Golden curtains cascade from a carven wooden ceiling, whose vast bas-reliefs depict the battles and adventures of the Messiah and his lover. Along the ground, basalt and marble rays spill out from the central crest of the All-Church, encircled, at distance, by 2 rings of sanguine granite, a symbol of the inner and outer reals. At the far end, 4 stained glass chivettes suggest the rising of the tower and Adonai within. At the center of these radiant panes is a pulpit of ancient wood, whose divine symbolism is lost upon you. A distant door closes. Footsteps echo through the hall as the Gnostic climbs the stairs to the pulpit to take his place as the voice of God. His crimson amice is drawn up, casting shadows across his pale face. The alb which enrobes his body is a golden yellow, fraying at the hem, where earth has gnawed at the finery. Aubergine maniple and stole drape across his arms and shoulder respectively. Finally, his sanguine chasuble, both cloak and surcoat to the priests of the All-Church, bears golden orphreys, like a coat of arms, a stylized rendition of the symbol of the All-Church, omitting, of course, the chevron of the skeptic. Adonai, Lord of error, was betrayed. When he commanded his brother and husband to serve in his name, to mete out his justice and speak with his voice, Meravec of the truth abandoned his faith for jealousy, seeking instead to undermine the teachings of his only brother. In the wake of such loss, my love was lost, maddened, blighted. He fled before he could be brought to justice. I, pontiff and Gnostic to the one true God, serve faithfully. We were never meant to rule, my brother. We were never meant to command or speak with his voice. He tasked us with leading the people of error through a mix of rationality and faith. But he wished to be destroyed if he should ever become blighted. But you could not have that, could you? You could not let the end come for him. You had to seize your power. You tried to seize me, but I cannot be contained.
There must be a change in this place. We have come to usher it in.
You bring nothing but pain and death. The true nature of this world is one that I will bring into existence. The end is coming, and only Adonai, the first scion of the beginning, can save them. But first, all must become one.
I ain't no scholar, But it seems that the nature of all worlds is changing and shifting constantly. Look, buddy, our quarrel, it ain't with you, but we'd be happy to settle it.
I did what I had to do. Adonai weakened. He needed power. He needed to be fed, to be whole. What do you mean, fed? It came to me, in my lover's voice. I knew what must be done. We all saw the unity of the golden light at the heart of the tower, and so I gave the blighted the blessing of unity with their God, that he may grow strong enough to enter the tower and bring a new beginning. No, I cannot allow this to go on. Yavos, not Adonai, is tied to the tower. He strikes with the true death. I do not know what he is. It is not my place to know. But he will give my brother the peace he deserves. He will bring whatever fate awaits, be it beginning or end. This is your God now? I see. I see. This withered creature is the adversary, the flesh of death, the bringer of the end, and he, like all scions, must be made one. Only then will my love be strong enough to do his duty. Only then will my love be strong enough to do his duty.
It doesn't matter what I am or who I am. You've built a world where people fear your faith. Listen to the suffering of your scions. This is a curse of the world you have made.
They cry out to be consumed, as you do with every protest. Come now into the maw of God, and there you will find peace. Somewhere out of sight, a mechanism begins to turn as the seal of the all-church at the crossing of the transept splits open to reveal the horror of a fallen god. The reek of bone and bile overcomes you as the air darkens with putridity. The unctuous filth of it presses into you through clothing, flesh, settling into your animus, a sickness upon your soul. Bones stack in primitive ossuary to honor the sacrifices of those the all-church deemed worthy. But it is not the gore of death that rends your sanity. The rusty tang of dry blood is no stranger, and death without pride or dignity is a fate you have accepted. It is the light of all things, the light which chills your hearts and quickens your pulse, the twinkling golden ephemera which flows like gauze in water, urges a scream or a curse from those of you which can find the voice. For suspended and drifting through the foul air are the eviscerated souls of the scions, shattered, screaming vessels of forgotten divinity, trapped in protracted spiritual anguish as they are slowly consumed by the insanity of their one true God. The only blessed end, oblivion, from which none can ever return.
The fallow crowd has come to the penultimate trial of their ongoing quest to eradicate the Dark Wood, and I am certain that I speak for all thinking creatures when I say, what in the sweet f***ing hells is that thing?
Frickin' right? And did that papal prick say he's been feeding scions to his husband? I know the quickest route to the heart is through the stomach, but that can't be kosher.
To make matters worse, the fallow crowd's energy readings are not looking good.
It's like the juice that fuels their nukes and dukes is dwindling, and the razor-sharp minds at the battle center can't figure out why.
Theories suggest that proximity to the base of the Axis may be responsible. As long as Zenith has been here, we've been unable to approach the base of the Axis. Even probes and divination spells fail within a certain radius. This new information suggests that there may be some entropic force drawing the free-flowing energies from the air into the Axis, which could account for the overwhelming power required for its constant shifts and contractions.
All I know is, the Crown was never gonna walk away from this one unscathed. But now, I'm not sure they're gonna walk away from it at all. What do you think, Dirk? Huh? Oh, yeah, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. On the bad scale? I'm sorry, fellas. I think something's up with Rust. Hey, I can't do this. I think he needs me. Here we go again.
Sarge, please. Dirk, if you feel you have to go, then go. Just make sure you're not doing anything for him that he wouldn't do for you.
Don't worry. I'm not.
Oh man, he's
Dang.
nuts.
He's beautiful.
So are we just ignoring that he said do my duty?
You will be fed to the great and all-powerful Sarlacc, where you will be slowly digested over 1,000 years.
I feel so
man.
bad for the Scions.
I cannot wait to kick the god hole.
So, favorite moments?
So.
Start with Law over here.
I like that we're all like a little bit stunned right now. This is the like quietest and most focused end roll that I think I've ever been here for.
I mean, it's the whole game show reveal of show me torturous consuming one god. And no, this episode's been full of like so much like very heavy visuals and conceptual descriptions that I've just been kind of chewing on them the whole time. And still having to play Iavos, like responding.
Right.
Everyone's like, hey, Iavos, you're this thing. Just kidding, you're this thing. I'd be like, I don't know what I am.
If it helps, they don't seem to either.
Yeah, no one can agree, and they all seem pretty valid in their inaccuracies. So I guess we'll just find out. No, this one's just a lot to chew on, and I enjoy the flavor quite a bit. I'm really having a hard time with favorite momos.
It's hard for me to remember that I have to play characters in it too. Like I'll be reading the description until I'm like, cool, done. Oh right, I'm a person.
Real things. I mean, I'm gonna go in for the skill challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, the skill challenge has come so far since we all started expanding on it, and just like the high-mindedness of this one is very good for me. That's the kind of shit that I crave.
Look, Zachary, I'm gonna go with your voices because I know you're fighting with your voice right now. You mentioned that this morning.
Yeah.
But just like some of those lines had this velvety gravel to them.
I am shocked that the badness of my voice has only aided the voices that I'm doing. Like it's perfect for each of these voices. I'm like, awesome, great, good.
Yeah, it was just really it's hard to explain, but it was like an encompassing like hug from a voice. Like it was just kind of let yourself fall into it. I enjoyed it.
Velvet Gravel's my stage name.
I did tell you to lean into your inner Tom Waits, and it seems like
You
you took that
did.
seriously.
Man. You're going to ask me for a favorite moment, and there's a lot of exposition in this one.
Yes. And just to give you a heads up, that ain't gonna stop.
Yeah. No,
Whoa,
I'm not
really?
assuming. So it seems a little early to be like, the exposition was my favorite. Some of the reveals were my favorite, because I know they're just going to keep coming. I'm liking the feeding souls to the one god to, I mean, it's very good.
Sometimes you're like, are we supposed to fight this guy? And they just give you a reason that's pretty unignorable.
Right, yeah.
I do
Oh,
appreciate
you're
that.
awful. Oh, you're the worst.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
What popped in my head is if I had failed that skill roll, I really would have loved to be like, and I have, how many toes do I have?
I was waiting for you to go all AI generator and be like, and 48 teeth.
Look, I have to preface what I'm gonna say a little bit. Just a little
sure.
bit. My name is Max Hobbs, and I hate feet.
I
hate them so much.
What a profile intro.
Thank you. That's all in my bio.
Hi, Max.
Hello. There is a certain just sense of satisfaction that came from Dana and Penelope being so excited about the fact that she had 10 toes instead of 2 hooves. That I loved that. That was my single favorite
precious.
moment from today.
Look,
It was a
after-
standout moment.
We just have to kill a few gods, and then I get to go home and paint them. I get to buy socks.
Truly a blessing. My favorite Momo is the Skeptics reveal.
That was very
Right?
good.
That's a good tying of some loose ends, a little bow on top. but I'm a little skeptical that it's true.
I did really like the structure of the mythos of Adonai and Maravek, and like the story of how they both where they started and how they got to.
That was a good story. I'm doing this thing now though, where I only pick one favorite thing. It's brand new. It's brand new.
It's brand
Cool
new.
stuff. I'm a little disappointed that Max is. I like that Penny liked her feet.
Yeah.
Listen,
come on.
It's the like in that moment of chaos, in that moment of weird surging everything, there was just one simple little joy to be found.
Sure.
I
In
thought
defense of it,
Which
right?
that
is-
was like a cool grounding moment.
Which is an extremely Nelly thing to do.
Yeah,
Sure.
when the
Yeah.
skill challenge is how do you ground yourself? It's grounding in the I am discovering. I am
I am on the
appreciating-
ground
It
with my
is-
feet.
Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm already breaking my new thing. All y'all's weird fucking skill rolls were amazing.
Yeah, I was
We've
going to
never
say.
done that before, and I'm like, yeah, this is the time to go
We've
all
already
in.
covered that.
He just said the skill challenge is a concept, but like, you know.
Specifically, all the mismatched ability scores were wonderful.
So I can't blame y'all for not specifically latching onto any of the lines, because let me tell you, I put work into making sure that literally no paragraph was without some fucking bangers, and I'm like, they're not going to remember all these. It's just going to be like a lot of data, you know, like just too much influx of information.
I will
Like I said,
say,
like, all I can do is just chew on it. Like it's just
yeah,
a big mouthful.
I will say I appreciated I assume research that you put into for the proper names of all of the priests' garb, because I had no idea at any point what fucking clothing articles you were discussing.
Which is why I made sure that each one was followed with the part of the body that
Right.
it covers.
I was just like, oh, these are all technical names and I don't know what they are.
Yeah. Well, any of you hardcore Catholics out there might have appreciated the effort I put into the appropriate vestments.
Yes,
Let's
yes.
hear it for seminary school.
The hardcore Catholics listening to this podcast specifically.
Are you ready for next episode titled "God is Dead"?
I'll admit it's probably mostly recovering Catholics.
Yeah. No, the next episode is probably deicide
Nah, those Jesuits, they play.
because it has to be one word.
My proposal for next episode: toes.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Hediger the Editor, for editing this episode. Thank you, Bree Golden, for the map we are about to consume.
Are we praying to
At
them
least,
now?
at least we get to die a beautiful death.
And thank you to the fans for listening. This has been a long road. We got 3 episodes left. This is one of those 3. So until we get to the end, I wish you luck.
And I am back. Yep, closing in. 2 episodes left. But here you can clearly see the baddie that we are facing. I can say no more, but I hope you enjoyed it. This one did have a lot of very good lines. I always appreciate the opportunity to just re-listen to the episodes and really listen. So that was very good. That was very good. This time I really got to sit and just listen to the story of Adonai and take it in, which was a little harder to do in the moment. So what'd y'all think? And then I see that Zachary has joined us. Always nice to have you. You did great in this episode. And yeah, he just had a little bit of that lost voice, kind of, you know, radio static to it. And I thought it worked for these couple of voices. That said, I've been sick, so I probably don't sound great either. Not that I ever seem to be not sniffly when I do these streams, but it's not sniffles. I've been pukey for a couple days, so y'all get to live with that knowledge. Yeah, well, it definitely did, Zach, and any kind of long exposition tends to, I think. just because in the moment where, you know, you can't really just savor it and take it in, you also have to be thinking about your own performance and like all things. At least that's what happens to me, is I get kind of mired in that. And I would guess that's true for at least half the cast. But I always love re-listening to it and really getting to. Yeah, all the exposition here was great. I love the cartographer, who you now know as the skeptic. I don't know if he's my favorite NPC in this season, but I think he's probably my favorite voice. Like NPC voice. I think that's what I would say. Although there are a lot of very good ones. Like Gilder is downright iconic in my mind, as well as a handful of others. I mean, I'm not sure I would count. Grimalkins are fun. I would count them, as much as I love them. I do love them, but critically, as neither the best NPCs or voices. They're really just, you know, the goofiest out-of-pocket voices that we had at the time. One of the things I like about Angelo is when he pulls like an out-of-pocket voice, is he goes real cartoony with it, and it always seems to get a laugh. And I'm going to strive in the future to do more of that myself, because I tend to do the opposite. Without being able to, because when I work on a voice, I do a lot of work to record it and play it back to myself to see how it sounds, and tweak it until I get it kind of how I want it. And so in those situations where we go out of pocket, I tend to fall back on voices that I've previously done and that I'm comfortable with, instead of doing new stuff. Anyway, as a long-winded way of saying, I really respect that about Angelo and enjoy that about him. That's fair. I don't think about the fishmonger a lot, but he had a pretty fun voice too. I do like that. In a lot of the voices, I feel like you can really tell which characters are from Error. And I'm guessing that's because, you know, in the kind of background design level of the season, I'm sure Zach had a particular inspiration for the like overall kind of inspiration or influence of the regional accents of Error. That would be my guess, because Zach is one of the most thorough world builders I know. And so I'm sure that's why. I hadn't really thought about it. I'm just talking off the cuff. Interesting to think about. I mean, that's... Okay, Zach, I gotta say, I mean, that is fair. Your criticism is often fair, but at the same time, you were GMing, and accents, like regional accents and dialects, are your strong suit. And so I can definitely see, especially in order to adhere to the level of quality that you demand from the cast and from yourself, I see where that would be the majority of what you fall back on. I think when you're doing less of that next season, I think that will be a really good opportunity to grow that part of your voice. And the same goes for me. That's what I'm obviously trying to do as well with the voice that I'm doing in season 3, which you know, Zach, and I've been working on. Cause yeah. That is the goal, just to constantly improve. How did I feel to learn there's only one chapter in session left? It felt strange. It definitely, like, it was a little surreal to think that it was ending. At the same time, I thought that I was going to feel really sad saying goodbye to playing this character and retiring this character. But by the end of the season, I felt like I had done literally everything I had set out to do with Penelope, and more, and I could no longer think of new things to do with her, like, for much longer. So I think it was really good timing. I'm really happy to have gotten the arc that I got with her, up to and including becoming human. Like, it was everything I dreamed from the beginning of the season. And then not only that, but getting to play, not only Penny, but Pentecost and Nellie. Like, it was really kind of a dream situation for me, a fae-loving, ephemeral person. So I'm very thankful for having that opportunity. Oh, you have no idea. I have... Okay, I don't have that many because by the time I got to Nellie, I just went back to my Penelope miniature. Partially because I never quite settled on what the mini should look like. Fancy way of saying I have 3. I have 3 Penny miniatures. I have a Penny Farthing and a Pentecost from Hero Forge, and then I have a Penny Dreadful. I have a possessed Pentecost miniature that I ended up not even using because I fucked up the paint job on it so bad. Yeah, it'd actually be interesting. Somebody take note of this. I think a really good LUQ&A question would just be, as an actor, how do you feel, like, this for everyone, including Zach? Like, how do you feel you grew, and what did you learn doing season 2, and what do you want to work on going into season 3? I think that would be a really interesting professional question. Thanks for stopping by, Ace. Yeah, it was good to see ya. Penelope as a character was encompassed by, 4 character sheets, 3 miniatures, 3 sets of dice. If y'all didn't know that, because my Penny Farthing dice were made of glass. They broke at the first Rose City we did for season 2. And then I got the metal dice, the Iron Warden dice for Penny. Continued using those for Pentecost, but then when I switched to Nellie, I used these bardic dice, these still metal, but like these bardic dice from something or other. It was a Kickstarter. I know my answer every single week is it's not my place to tell you about season 3, but yeah, everyone but Michael's returning. I'm just gonna say that. Like the vision as a whole for season 3, I think, is always to just go like bigger and more, and hopefully we have more guests. Hopefully we have more people on the show, but all the same people are going to be there. Michael will not be. Michael also just did 4 years of I mean, he had his paternity breaks, that's true, but he just did like 4 years of the show. He's taking a break. The only other people that have done that are Zach and Law, and you can see how tired they are. Just look at them. Yeah. Like I'll tell you, I was even originally saying that for season 3, like I was thinking of doing like halftime or something. I don't think that's going to be the case anymore, but yeah, it's just it is tiring. It committing to the show and you know, like the schedule of the show is it doesn't seem like a lot because it's once a month, but it's a little demanding. It just affects your ability to like go out of town and things like that for a pretty long period of time. But I love doing the show. I love my cast members. Many of them are some of my best friends that I have now. So I'm very grateful for having had this experience. Oh, okay. That is fair. I know it only applies to Michael, but I was about to say like everyone that is not returning for season 3 is making that choice to do so for their own, you know, health and sanity reasons. And that said, you'll probably see him again at some point. Like, it's just people need breaks. It's the reality. I was also at that time, like I was considering taking a break, also just because y'all are probably sick of me because you see more of me than probably anyone else except Zach and Law. Be good to at some point to give y'all a break so that I can come back and it can feel fresh again. Yeah, it's wild to think about, Zach, because just like the scope of how much all of our lives have changed because of this goddamn show. Cuties don't know this, but it's you know, when Elliot and Jess approached me with their business idea for TPK, we didn't know each other. We had never met before. They learned about me through LUQ because they were they're the person they had planned to go into business with. You know, over the course of the few-year delay in the business plan due to COVID, dropped out of wanting to do the business, and so they were looking for a replacement. And with like a particular very strange kind of blend of skills. And one of their friends said, hey, I listened to this show called The League of Ultimate Questing, and you know, there's this person on it named Dana, and you should check her out. That's you know, and now I'm opening a brewery at the end of this month. So it's wild. And then just all these weirdos. You know, the first year it was a lot like being coworkers. Now I see these idiots all the time, and like I said, they are some of my best friends in the entire world. Yeah, and I can't even begin to just count all the wild things. But that is how it's impacted my life, like in just one way. So you're planning to restore the episode buffer for the wall. Boy, howdy, would we love to. Like it was good that we had it. It existed for a reason, and it got used for a reason. Just occasionally, like you build the buffer, and then occasionally someone gets sick or something else happens, and you lose the buffer. So yeah, of course we'll build it back up, almost certainly. It's just kind of difficult, because like I'd love to say, hey, let's just do, you know, 2 days of recording and just like really get ahead, but that is really hard to plan for the game master. To have that much content. Because I can tell you, even when I run my games, if I'm really doing it in a reactive way, in a dynamic way, after about 3 hours of content, that's usually around the point where people start going kind of off the rails enough where I have to start improvising, and if I have to do that for more than an hour, it just like it gets more apparent. So that's my way of saying like planning for 8 hours would be very difficult in my opinion. Ooh, okay. If Nellie's LUQ contract stipulated she had to live in Zenith for a set time, which spoke would she want to live on? Okay, so that's hard. Like, it's kind of funny. Back when we first visited Kinuant, kind of in the Wild Heart Pentecost arc, I actually at the time I was thinking, man, like this really feels like where she belongs, and maybe she should have joined the Kinuant team when we were taking bids, like, because it really felt right. And then now it's like I can never go back. So if she can't go to Kinuant and she can't be among Fae, which she would respect, you know, Gilder's boundaries and not do that, and everyone's boundaries. They probably none of them like her. It's a tough one. I could almost see her even going and staying with is it Johan with like the Spoke of Devils? That doesn't seem like a bad choice. I mean, I don't hate Akritaria. That's the one we're on, right? I don't hate that one. I'm not sure. It's a tough one. This is a tough one. Oh right, the genocide. Yeah, Dungeon City's gonna be a lot of fun. I kind of put off really, like, making my character for it and chewing on it until fairly recently, but I have my character concept now, and now I'm kind of excited. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be fun. And then like finally really sitting down and listening to like what the other characters are and like kind of what we're doing. Like I think it'll be a good show. It'll be nice and tight. I think it's gonna be 3 episodes. It'll be fun. Thank you, Verada. Yeah, I cannot spoil anything about Dungeon City. I respect law way too much to ever think about doing that. But it's, the aesthetic is very cool. The tone is cool. It's very fresh, and I'm definitely what's it? Definitely the probably the most opposite character I could ever make from Tiana Biscuit. So very, very into playing fresh and new characters. Oh boy, howdy. So Season 3 prep actually started really early. We had the initial meeting about it and auditions in like, I want to say like March or April of this year was when we started talking about it. Zach and Law invited everybody over to talk about the project. They did like a PowerPoint presentation on the setting for Season 3. And then just like on the spot, we talked about characters and had kind of our session 0. And and I've said this, we actually did some like a pilot episode just to test the chemistry and the new characters, and some things from that. I assume at some point it will be available with some kind of bonus content. It will not work as a real episode canonically because there were character changes that happened because of it. But also I think I think at a certain point, if it's released partway through season 3, going back and listening to it will be kind of funny. Yeah, Zach is right. Originally we were hoping to like double the size of the cast and just do a lot more, like a lot more swaps and like benching people and whatever, and just like for a lot of reasons it would just be very cool. Just to have a big cast and to be able to really do the team thing, but for a variety of reasons, ultimately, the producers of the show decided that they were going to stick with the same core members, and the other people aren't not going to be on the show, but they will probably be more like guest runs at some point, rather than full cast members, because you can imagine it's very difficult to find people who can just kind of come in and seamlessly blend with this cast, who at this point is so used to working together and knows each other so well. There are certain challenges to it, because one of the things you got to do with like a test game, for example, is just take a couple people, put them between like Law and me and Max, and can they stay standing? Can they get their word in and do their thing and match the energy? I mean, that's part of it. That's part of it. It's a very demanding role. That's all I can really say about it. Obviously, Zach and Law are the ones making casting decisions, but that's just my perspective of my experience with it. Really, I think on our part, it's really just all of us matching Max's energy. Because I think when he joined the show, there's probably like a palpable energy shift. I think it just became more energetic as a whole. Well, I mean, everyone was kind of trying different things. Zach, once again, is being very hard on himself. What I would say about Zach is Zach was really testing out the voice and the feel of his character more than trying to integrate with the cast, because like that's not his job, integrating with the cast. He already knows he can do it. And Zach initially tried some very difficult voices, and I think he was overthinking what he wanted to do with this character. That's what he set out to do. For me, it was really trying to get the kind of testing out the new characters' aesthetic, but also their demeanor, because I was trying to do something that is so different from Penny, and I wanted to make sure it worked and it wasn't off-putting, and I think I managed to do it in a different kind of endearing way, and then eventually had to kind of back off and let the new players have their moments to really take the stage, because I think I was over talking, overperforming them a little bit in the first part. Max too, I would actually say, in that test, was having a little bit of trouble finding his character. He was a little quiet for Max. He was being a little more thoughtful, and I don't think he'd quite figured it out yet. This is probably incredibly boring with none of you knowing what these characters are, because it hasn't been revealed. So I will. It's probably not particularly useful, so I will stop. we haven't discussed a new video opener, but it wouldn't surprise me if Law had something in mind. That was entirely his baby this last time, and now I feel like we need one. And I'm not even sure what it would look like, but it'd be, we definitely should. That would be fun. One thing that's kind of wild, I was on a video call with our oh gosh, I can't even think of words. It is late for me. But I was on a video call this morning with our like production editor person for the book, and for the Blooms That Feed on Fire, the TPK book. And we originally in our crowdfunder said that it would be, I think, like 32 pages. The final page count is 117. That is in the ballpark of a Pathfinder setting book, which is a small book, but it is like, that's a full ass role-playing book. And that's kind of wild. I'm like, okay, no wonder everything is, you know, kind of past the deadline and running late. Like, we tripled the size of that goddamn book, and didn't account for that in our initial plans for how long it would take to edit and layout. And it's currently in layout, actually. I've said that for a while, but what I mean by that is most of it is basically done at this point. Right. We're going to be able to ship like just the adventures to a few people that need that, probably within the next couple of days, and then we're on track to have at least the full PDF of the book done within the next 2 weeks, definitely before the launch party. But anyway, the length is just, it's a little surprising, also kind of exciting though, because we need to cost it out and see if you know, we can afford it with the crowdfunder money. But that means we're at a page length where we can explore hardcover as an option, because there's kind of like a page minimum for a lot of things. Like, there's a page minimum for binding in the first place, to even have like softcover binding, which is, you know, something like 18 or 30 pages, I don't know. And then for hardcover, it's bigger, and we definitely hit the page count for hardcover, so we just got to find out how much more it costs, because that would be so cool. I'd love to have a hardcover book. That's kind of what's going on with us, and then Law has been having a grand time, buying miniatures, because we had a miniatures budget for the brewery, and so he's been like rounding out the collection with things that we'll need, and also getting specific things. So that's been, it's been really fun. I think he's been enjoying it, and I like seeing him enjoying things. Plenty of other stuff. To my knowledge, I don't think any cuties are in our campaign, the Layfarer's Chronicle, but we just dropped the player's guide for that today, which I'm also excited about. It's not pretty. It's basically a doc saved as a PDF, and eventually it will be pretty, but like once our editor is done on this book. But I'm just like, I'm really happy with how the mechanics turned out in it, so I'm definitely fully ranting now, and I'm going in circles, so I'm gonna call it a night. But yeah, let's talk about all of these things more later. I care about all of you a lot, and I hope you know that. This is a great community, and it has been wonderful to be a part of it. And even though I'm not saying goodbye, wrapping the season has me all kinds of nostalgic So, thank you all so much. Have a fantastic rest of your week. You'll hear me say that a couple more times, and until next time, we wish you luck.